Hello and welcome to Program Bachelor of Science first year, Subject Botany, Semester 2, Course Code BOG 102, Course Title Coastal Mangrove Ecology. Unit 7, Conservation and Management Strategies Restoration Technology. Module name, Propagation and Planting Techniques. I am Ms. Marina Janice Rodriguez, Assistant Professor from DCT's Bembe College of Arts and Science, Miramar, Goa. In this module, we will be seeing the collection of mangrove propagules and seedlings, storage of them, the planning phase for mangrove planting, the planting techniques, that is the direct method and the nursery method, spacing between the plants and survival rate of mangroves. By the end of this module, you will be able to describe the collection, storage techniques of mangrove propagules and seedlings, summarize the planning phase for mangrove planting, and explain the planting techniques for mangroves. Collection of mangrove propagules and seedlings. The mangrove fruits, seeds or seedlings are available in small quantities throughout the year, so they can be collected as and when they occur. But the main fruiting season or seedling season starts from June to September with plenty of seedlings of all the Rhizophoriaceae members, of Avicennia members and others. This is a picture of propagules of Rhizophora, and these are the fruits of Avicennia. So these can be collected as and when they occur. Which seedlings or propagules should be considered for planting? Definitely, disease-free propagules and mature seedlings should be considered or should be collected. The fruits or seedlings which are not fully matured or are not ripe may not grow further, resulting in high mortality rate. Storage of mangrove propagules and seedlings. Once collected, these mangrove propagules or seedlings may need to be stored for some time. They have different conditions depending on the type of species. For example, species of Rhizophora, Avicennia, Brigaria and Cereops should be stored in brackish water for 6 to 7 days. Seedlings of Candelia need to be transplanted in the natural swarms in the nursery immediately. They require sufficient moisture and tidal water as well. The Solanaceae fruits that you can see in the picture can be stored for a longer time. The planning phase. Before we actually go into planting or restoration programs, we need to plan out very carefully. The planning phase would include the estimation of the area available for planting. A decision has to be made as to which species should be planted at what position. This has been discussed in the previous module in species selection. With a careful study, it can be decided which species needs to be planted at which point. Later, suitable plots are made depending on the availability of planting area. There should be distance of about at least 10 meters between the plots that are made. Any intertidal area, that is the area between the high tide and the low tide, where mangroves are absent and the substratum is of soft clay or mud and the area is being inundated by regular tidal waters every day, are suitable for direct mangrove planting. As you can see in the picture, an area which is getting the tidal water throughout the day, which is subjected to low tide as well as high tide, and where mangroves are absent, such an area has to be selected for planting mangroves. When we make mangrove plots, we can make mangrove plots either parallel to the shore. These plots may be parallel to the shoreline in case of fringing mangroves where intertidal expanse is narrow, or if the area is large enough, the plots may be made in rectangular or square shaped with a gap of at least 10 meters between two plots. Planting techniques. The planting techniques of mangrove are categorized into two groups. It is either direct planting in the swamp or soft mud, or raising the seedlings in the nursery. The direct planting technique. This technique has to be used in open areas. The selected propagules and seedlings are transported to the site and planted. The direct planting technique differs when it comes to different species. For example, the species of Rhizophora, Candelia, Cereops, Brigaria. In these species, the pointed end should always be pointed into the mud. The blunt end, which is the shoot portion, should always be 6 to 8 inches above the soil level. As you can see in the picture, the pointed end is to be put in the mud and the blunt end remains on top. In case of Avicennia seeds, which are generally globular, they need to be gently pressed into the soil surface. The nursery technique. Mangrove nursery technique is a useful method where mangrove species are not available in plenty. It has advantages like selected species are available in large quantities. Mangrove nurseries can be developed in the upper part of the intertidal regions where seedlings can be grown in polythene bags supported by bamboos. This is a picture of mangrove nursery. It is best to raise mangrove seedlings in a mangrove nursery, which may be located near the estuary or sea where sea water or the estuarine water is available. This factor is very important for the establishment of a mangrove nursery. The nursery may be on an open ground or in a low-lying protected area where sea water reaches. The collected seedlings are inserted in polythene bags and they are filled only with mangrove soil, as these seedlings will not be able to tolerate any other soil. The nursery should not be usually placed or established on a raised ground, but if the nursery is established on a raised ground, then the perforations in the bags are not needed. But if the nurseries are in the low-lying areas, then the polythene bags in which the mangrove seedlings are planted need perforations. The seedlings grow in different size of plots. Anywhere else need watering every day. However, if the seedlings are kept in low-lying intertidal regions, they do not need watering because they get the natural tidal waters twice every day. Once the seedlings are grown up to a suitable height, at least for a period of 6 months or 1 year, they are then transferred to the site wherein they have to be planted by a cart or a boat, as can be seen in the picture. The transplantation technique may be the same as indicated for direct planting. Care should be taken to cut open the polythene bags at the base and then transplant it. Spacing between the plants. It is important that some space is maintained between the plants. Spacing differs according to the purpose for which plants are grown. It depends on the mangrove species. Spacing for plants is usually 2 meters between two plants. These plantations are to be protected from grazing cattle and goats from being eaten. If good care is taken in selecting the seedlings used for planting and also after transplantation, then the survival rate is very high of mangroves, up to 90 to 95%. But in polluted areas, the mortality of seedlings may be high because of the presence of toxic substances discharged from the industries. Very high sediment load with fast current also poses a problem for the survival of mangrove seedlings. Low levels of non-toxic pollutants may not pose any problem on mangroves. Rather, mangroves may help to make the condition in that particular ecological niche better. These are my references. Thank you.